Alright, welcome to the 2021 update of Knuckle. Here is the biggest thing first. Metropolis 3! Do a little spin dash, make sure you collect the rings. You can either do a small spin dash and jump over the sky, or a big spin dash, get 2 rings and hit the sky. And after you've hit the sky, we're going to maneuver these platforms so that one of them pushes you into this wall. Run on both of them, glide cancel back to the left to land just on the left one, jump and glide cancel back up to this one over here, and then jump one final time to make it go down. Do a 6-step spin dash off here, do a really short jump as close to the left side end of this platform as you can, and then glide very quickly afterwards to grab the wall and pause to see where you are on the wall. So, Knuckles is over here on the wall. This is about the right height. You might want to go a pixel or 2 lower as the platform approaches. You have time to adjust like once as the platform gets here, so like this. And then just before the platform gets here, you want to do a jump and hold right. And then if everything goes to plan, you clip inside the wall like this. Once you're inside the wall, you need to hold jump again to grab onto the inside of the wall. Then we're looking for a very specific pixel location. First of all, we look at the, let me get my mouse, we look at the dots on the green inside of the wall here. We count 5 down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th one is level with the top of Knuckles' head. Or whatever other cue you want to use at this point where he is. But then you need to look more precisely than that at this brown, at this mesh diamond behind his forehead. What you want to see is Knuckles without his fist up, so he's in a scrunched position, as we say. And the one symmetrical inside dark pixel of this diamond is showing above his head. So the top red line of pixels of his head is 1 pixel below the symmetrical center of the mesh diamond. Hope you can see that. Anyway, once you're in that position, and Knuckles must be in like one of these scrunched positions and not this one with his fist up, or another one with his fist up, this one I think. But apart from that, I think you're good to go. So like this. You would unpause, you have to be holding right on the wall while unpaused, and then you need an exactly 3-frame jump while holding right, so you press A and pause and see what frame jump you got. And you want to look at this frame to know how many frames you jump for. So you can either jump for 1, 2, 3 or 4 frames, or even more than that. 4 frames will be too many, you'll fall straight down. 2 frames, you won't be able to tell if you haven't paused and looked at this frame, you'll just land where you're going to land anyway, and it won't work. If it's wrong amount of frames, you just unpause and re-grab the wall immediately and then realign again. So here we are on the right pixel again. So looking for a 3-frame repause, which looks like that's a 2-frame one. That's a 3-frame one. So once you hit that 3-frame one, so you've been holding right and you jump for exactly 3 frames, you just unpause pressing nothing. You land over here, you do a spin dash and pause while spin dashing, then switch to holding right and do a quick repause. This is 1 frame early than you want. You need to hit 1 frame later than this. But you can still salvage this by that now pressing left. You switch to left 1 frame later than this and hold left to the level boundary. If you don't hit it, you hit the level boundary. That was me hitting left 2 frames later than where I paused instead. You can retry it again. You don't die like the piston strat. Oops, if you don't jump, you fall down here. And this is where it gets awkward. Because now you can't really... It's very hard to get back up there to retry it again. Unless you get straight onto this thing, maybe. The piston strat is now the backup one, and get on here to the piston strat. Anyway, let's get it once properly in a row so you can see what it looks like. There we go, this is the frame that you want to see. So after that repause, while holding right to this repause, you now want to switch to left and unpause. And you should level rep. And that should be consistent every time. If you can't tell what's going wrong, it's most likely how many frames you held jump for, or for the wall it has to be exactly 3 frames. Or the exact pixel that you're lined up on the wall. And then the boss fight is the same, and you can get 46 with this if you're perfect, or 47. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Here's the next biggest thing. You can get a very fast kill on this boss, the same as Sonic does, but kind of an animation faster, so even faster than Sonic does. Once you've done the super glide along the top of the level, you want to bounce on him twice, and you want to make sure your bounces are quite low, so you have to get him to spawn definitely before you've dropped through him. You don't want him to spawn while you're already halfway into him. But yeah, if you spawn and get too low bounces, I should have shown that to be honest, then land here and spin dash as fast as possible. It'll be a ridiculously tight window most of the time to land and spin dash as fast as possible, and pause. So land, spin dash, pause on top of this pillar to the far left of it, aligned with the wall as you're landing. And if you pause on a frame that looks like this, then you can release your one-tap spin dash. This has to be a one-tap spin dash, and then continually do one-tap spin dashes that hit him on the first frame he becomes vulnerable again. So, and then for the last two you can glide, and then you should get a quick kill like that. And that can get 34s, maybe 33s, can't remember. So things to look for on this frame for the one to start doing it are, if you can see my mouse, this pixel above his hammer. There's one green, light green pixel, and two or three dark green pixels to the left of it, just visible above the red of his hammer right here, as he started moving horizontally to the left. The thing about this frame is that if you get here very early, the camera can still be higher up. So it looks like you've hit this frame already, but actually you could repause and then he descends and starts moving left and you get this same pixel again. So you also want to check that the top of the eggmobile, whatever you call this, I can't remember, is below the line of the trees in the horizon, to make sure that this is the correct frame and not the early version of the frame before the camera has settled. Yeah, there's that one. It's quite tight on having to get the boss to spawn to get low enough bounces so you can land and spin dash on the pillar and immediately pause to try and see this frame. And then also these hits after you unpause and get the hits before he becomes vulnerable again for one frame are tighter than you think. You have to be right inside him for it to, like there, missed one. But for the last two you should glide anyway because it's far easier. So it's like 4 one-taps and then glide. Anything else? This. Knuckles can now do Metro 1 like Sonic can, thanks to the Sumerhays strat. Once you get to this piston, you don't run across and go up the red spring like normal. You instead jump to align yourself against this wall and spin dash as soon as you land. Just a one-tap spin dash. Oh, nice landing. Right. And as the pistons push up past you, if you're already spin dashing, then you'll change into this spin dash storage animation where Knuckles will be walking on the spot, and you can use him walking on the spot to get the correct window to release your spin dash to immediately clip in. Keep the camera far enough to the left by doing everything fast enough that the box that you eventually clip to all the way on the right of the level will not be loaded before you get there, which is what you need to clip through the wall off screen, which Knuckles could not do before without the camera catching up and the box spawning too soon. So once you're in this animation, you're looking for him to step forward 3 times. So it's 1. Oh, good. I held the spin dash, but okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then as his foot comes forward on this time, this frame, this animation of Knuckles stepping is what you want to be looking for. The first frame that he switches to this will not work. The second frame that he switches to this will work if you hold left, if you release your spin dash and hold left the entire time. We're going to be switching to down to do a spin dash as fast as possible when we land in this wall. The other frames that work here are the 3rd frame and 4th frame, so there's a 3-frame window there, and then the 5th frame does work most of the time if you press left as late as possible. If it's too late, you get crushed. If it's too early, you get crushed. If it's only 1 frame late, then you end up falling down like this, and you'll have to go to the right and up here, where to the monitor that you would be clipping through, like Sonic does over here, and then go up the previous route, taking this red spring and carrying on with the mesh clip over here, which is the same as before. But this mesh clip is not 100% consistent depending on your vertical subpixels. When you get here, you might get there might not be a frame window to be able to glide through it. So this one's kind of a 50-50, so it's nice to do this other way. This other way, by the way, the Sumerhays way isn't necessarily faster, it's about the same. But if you can pull it off every time, it will be 100% consistent, as opposed to the mesh, where you can't control your vertical subpixels by that point in the level. So, once you've hit one of the 4 frames that works in this animation, you hold left once your kind of past the halfway point of the piston for all of the other frames, or if it's the 5th frame, you hold left as late as possible. You need to press left at some point to turn around because you need to be facing to the left when you land. Or if you've hit the 2nd frame of that animation, you'll be holding left the whole time, so slow down enough for when the piston gets here. So when the piston does get here, you switch to holding down. You'll clip into the wall just to the right of the pistons like this. You want to unpause the spin dash and repause as fast as possible, like this. Now you switch to holding left out of your spin dash. You unpause and repause, and you're looking for knuckles to end up either here. You won't be able to tell because the camera moves here, or just under the door. There's a 2-frame window to jump that we want to repause on. So here's the repause. So the camera will, let me get the whole screen. The camera will be off like this. You have to have done all of the spin dash really, really fast so the camera doesn't catch up, so this door doesn't crush you, and so that it's far enough left that the monitor doesn't spawn. So if you jump out of this repause, this might be too late. No, I pianoed my jump and got a glide. Lovely. But that would have worked. So repause. He's off screen. You have to pay attention to where the screen boundary is to see kind of what position you're going to be in, depending on how quickly you do the spin dash. If you're unsure, the best thing to do is just try to jump the frame after I'm pausing. Once you've got a full jump, you'll hear Knuckles jump. You won't see him. The camera starts scrolling super fast. You're pausing to see. This is the same as Sonic now. You're pausing to see this 2nd right angle pipe. So you see this pipe, and then you see this right angle pipe. Once this mesh is completely come to the right hand side of the screen, so it looks like this at the earliest point. You start holding left and you repause until you see the yellow bumpers on the right side of the screen, like this. Yellow bumpers here, and then you unpause again while holding right. But that's the same as Sonic doing this anyway. So I'm going to hold right, and that will stop you from falling into what would be a soft lock for Sonic up here. If you actually fall into a gap in the wall where you can't get out as Knuckles, you can actually just climb up a wall, hold up and right, and continue climbing up to the right, and you can jump out in the same place. You land here, do 2 spin dashes across the button to go quickly across it, and then you do the same as Sonic here, where you pan the camera all the way down, do a 3-tap or more spin dash, and while holding right to start the screen up early. Then hold left a bit to get in position before the screen gets back down, because otherwise you'll be on this box and you actually want to be on top of here. And then you're looking for the 4-frame window that doesn't kill you. If you jump too late, this nut crushes you. This is in the 4-frame window, but you can find more info on this on pins in the Discord and in Sonic tutorial. And then you're just jumping through this nut in this 4-frame window. We also have a surprise nut, new strat. So, oh, that's the ending, by the way. That's Kokuns' new ending. Shout out to Kokuns. That involves jumping on the frame that you land on that 2nd last slope, and then hoping that you have more horizontal speed than you do kind of vertical from the timing of your jump. That the steep slope sends you upwards instead of downwards. It's just kind of luck whether you get it. It only saves a very small amount of time. But nice to show that off, I guess. If you don't get this strat and you go the normal way with the mesh, which honestly is safer in terms of living, but not 100% consistent because of the mesh frame, and you end up going up here, there's now a very easy new strat, which doesn't save time but makes this way easier. So you'll definitely want to take you definitely don't want to take the top path at the end of this level anymore if you go this normal way. So at this point, you do a 3-tap on here, do a full jump when you land to land on this nut here, and then as you land on this, jump off immediately, make sure the nut doesn't turn at all. This is a full jump, you just fall down here, hold full jump, tap to the left so you land on top of the nut and not on top of the monitor, and when you land here, you'll clip through automatically without having to do a frame perfect pause, box clip on the box. You just surprise nut through the nut every time. How did we not find this before? Very easy, okay? So that's the way to go on that level now. Jump on the frame that you land on that final last slope there. You land on this slope. If it sends you upwards, you're lucky. You do a full jump and get around for this crazy ending. This spin dash has to be a particular speed of 5 tap or a particular speed of 6 tap to get over the last yellow bumper if you're lucky, otherwise just glide stop on the other side of it if you don't want to risk getting bumped back. Anyway, that's a lot of stuff, new stuff. I'm going to edit it together. Yeah, I'm not going to bother saying anything else, I'll just make a video. Cool.